Hello, everybody. My name is Gav here with Evan from Stock Market News. And if you're watching this video, you've likely heard us talking a lot about Prospero, one of our favorite apps for finding fantastic stock plays, both short-term and long-term in the market. They are right now doing a raise. I've already personally invested in this raise. I know many others have as well. We wanted to walk through and explain both the details of the app as well as the raise so we can answer any questions that anyone has. So watch along this video and you will get those answered. I'm going to go ahead and screen share right now and we can jump right into it. And I'll also share some anecdotes as well from personal use of the app over the last few years. As you can see, the raise is being done on Republic, which is very straightforward, great platform for doing these on. It's nice because it offers eventually a secondary market as well, so it provides some liquidity, and they have had many raises done on here, so I think you can have some trust as well in the platform. You can see that they've already completed over 10% of the raise as well. Now, they're going to raise more money like most of these companies do from institutions. They typically take a small portion of the raise, as you can see here, about 1.24 million, and they open that up to retail investors like us so that we have the opportunity to participate as well. And what I really like to see is, although they pretty much just opened this raise, over 100 investors unique have already invested in it. So let's get into this and really understanding what Prospero AI does, which is using AI tools to allow you to have the same information and invest like a pro on Wall Street. So a couple of the highlights here that really stand out. You can look through them, just some data here. They've really had a winning track record for years and years. And this year, their picks, which they outline in their newsletter, right? So they take their favorite picks from the app, put them in the newsletter, are beating the market currently by 91%. They beat it by 77% last year, 50% the year before. You can see the trend. It's continuing to get better as they take literally 100 million data points and distill it via proprietary models and signals. And we'll talk a little bit about what those proprietary models and signals look like. You can see a lot of great information here, like the valuation cap. You can invest for as little as $250. You do not have to be an accredited investor. Anybody is able to invest here. Like it's a pretty low amount compared to a lot of the investments that you typically see required. And this is being done as a SAFE, so a secure agreement for future equity, right? So what's nice though is they have a valuation cap on the SAFE. So I know everybody that's investing in a SAFE, you always want to see, is there a cap or is there a discount? This time it is a cap of 16 million for the next round. Could end up being at a potentially lower valuation, which would mean that your investment is, even a larger percentage of the pie here. So just a couple things to think over as we move forward. So let's talk about Prospero as a whole and really what they're doing with the information. And I'm going to scroll through a little bit of the page just to kind of get down here to the piece that I want to touch on, and then we can come back to others if we'd like to. So really the pieces that make sense to me, the biggest thing here is the scanning of the options chain. And as you can see, there's a lot of information on the company itself because you're investing in the company. I want to talk for a second, though, about the actual product, right? And what's happening there. So we can come back to the growth of the company and some other items. But right here, I think you can actually see a couple of the product screens. So this is what I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on for the moment, and we can pull back from there. Prospero is taking in tons of signals, and most specifically, it's taking in signals from the options chain. So as an everyday investor, it's pretty straightforward to, look at a stock and say the basics. What does volume look like? What does momentum look like? What do earnings look like? Profitability, fundamentals, right? These are all things that I think we can look at. And if you have a very simple financial training, you can take away ideas from them. The options chain, to be honest, where a lot of the big money plays in the market, is a lot more complicated and a lot more hidden to see. Why? Because typically, everyday people like me and you, we are not going into the options chain and scanning through every single little piece right within it. We're not going through and saying, Apple 275 calls, oh, they have this amount of volume and they have this amount of theta and this amount of delta and this IV, right? And going X, X, and X through every single level of calls and pulling that information together. That to me is where what Prospero is doing is unique and helpful. It's actually going to scan for every single stock. You can go in the app and see right now. And by the way, very cool part, the app is free to use. I repeat, free, which is the best part here. So you can go try it yourself before you invest. It's going to scan through and it's going to pull insights and data for you. Most specifically, things like what is the active point right now where majority of big money institutions are actually buying calls, buying puts, right? And why does that matter? It can really give you a great idea as to whether big money hedge funds, institutions is long right now, short, how much they're long, how much they're short, what they believe is going to happen in the short term, or what's going to happen in the long term, right? Because you can look out a year or 2 years on these option chains and really pull the data together. So just in a nutshell, to me, that's the most helpful thing here. And obviously, they've gone ahead and turned this data into more proprietary data, and now they're packaging it up and they're turning it into a variety of plans for what they want to do with it. So I'll pause there for a second to bring you in, Evan, see if you have any comments or thoughts on that. And then now that I've outlined a little bit of what the app does, and I'll give a little bit more color, then I want to go into this raise and why they're raising and some of the details behind that.
Yeah, why don't we look more in the Republic page?
Sounds good. And so the one other thing I wanted to say was inside the Prospero app, if you go in there, you're going to have 4 sections: short-term bull, long-term bull, short-term bear, long-term bear. So it's nicely broken down for you. And these are going to be their top picks, right, for each of their categories. But you can also search for any individual stock that you'd like. And in addition to the options chain, they're also going to pull things like net social sentiment. So looking across social media and seeing what does social media think of this app right now by using natural language processing, scanning through it, and then giving that a score. And they turn everything into these nice little spider web graphs that are easy to see. You probably saw that on the last page that I was showing. Those I find very helpful as well. All right, let's bring it back to Republic and talk a little bit about this raise. And you can see they've had a lot of press that's covered them, right? Forbes, Fast Company, CNN, so many others that have talked about them throughout time. So let's take a little bit about it. A mass market solution that helps anyone improve regardless of the strategy. So here we go. What data feeds into the app? Real-time data sources totaling millions of data points. So they're pulling all of the standard market data, which I talked about, right? Price and volume, but then the options, the dark pool data, right? Which is even harder for, I think, the average person to understand, the analyst info, and then all of that social data. So you kind of get 5 different areas of points that are feeding into this, taking that all, building it into a proprietary science machine, and providing it out in 10 user-friendly signals. So that's really the idea here. We're going to take millions of data points, we're going to reduce it down, and we're going to provide it to you in a way that anybody can understand. And also, as you can see, they have a great social following already, right? Over 100,000 followers across all platforms. Why is this important? Because to be honest, if you're investing in this, I think you really want them to have a big social platform, because that's going to help them boost their users, boost their revenue, and ultimately turn this into a profitable investment for you. You've got a lot of different reviews right here that you can see. I know Corey, for example, I've done a lot of shows with her. She's been using this for years. She's made hundreds of thousands of dollars off it, really helped to build her portfolio off this. There is a full video here as well for an app tour, which I encourage people, go to the page, watch through the app tour. You really want to do as much due diligence as possible before making an investment into something, especially a company that is in its rather early stages, right? This is not a company that's out there producing a ton of revenue or earnings, things like that. So you're taking a little bit more risk. So I want you to do that due diligence to the utmost extent. As you can see here, it's got their weekly active users, almost 14,000. That's a 50% increase year over year. Growth is important. You want to see that continue to grow into the coming years. That's going to help with monetization and boosting. 20% of all signups are active on a weekly basis, which I love to see as well. You want to have people that are MAUs, but you really want to have those weekly active users, because that just shows, hey, they're not just checking it once in a while, but they're actually using this really on a day-to-day basis in order to improve their investing, their trading, items along those lines. You'll see the newsletter pointed throughout here. I think that that's an important piece here too, because specifically with the newsletter, it does allow people who don't want to scan through the whole app to just say, hey, what are the best picks here? And they have 2 newsletters. They have one that's free and they have one that's paid. You can kind of go in, again, naturally they're going to take the best stuff with those picks and put them in the paid one. That's the one that's had, a 90% beat on the market this year. So you can go ahead and look at that yourself as well. Let's take a look at some of the projections. So based on the current conversion metrics, base products, and you can see the 3 base products here, $2 billion in annual sales. And you can see the projections coming through. And this is, of course, modeling a few years out to about 2028 at the moment, looking to get up to 400,000 monthly active users and about $2 billion there in annual sales as well with some of these pieces. All right, Evan, I'm going to touch back on you because I've been touch base with you because I've been talking a lot here and I've just been rolling through. I've been showing a lot of the details. This is a comparison as well to potential competitors. Just curious, what stands out to you here? And for someone that's doing their due diligence, what type of questions do you think they should be asking and looking at?
Yeah, so I would definitely, I think going through the risks of anything are important. But at the end of the day, first of all, I do want to say that investing in private companies is very different than investing in public companies. And you guys definitely should know that. And they're going through a platform here, but there are different liquidity and whatever stuff that you guys should know. Sure. So that is definitely important to keep in mind. But when I'm thinking about these, I'm thinking about the opportunity and the what is the potential upside here in the market fit. So my question would be is like how are they planning to make money? That's what I would want to look into, and a lot of this seems to be around the quality of the signals. So that's what I would want to look into is the signals. Are they actually working? Maybe take a couple of them. I know they're saying some of the numbers in there, but if they're doing that, then they should continue to do that in real time going forward. So if you go in and test out the app or test out the newsletter, I would say that would be the first thing that I end up doing before anything else is just kind of actually trying to use the product and getting value from it, and then going from there would be my first thought on this as I'm digging in. But for the people who have already done it, what I would want to see is honestly, the interviews with the team is what, and I know we're doing a bunch of them. I would want to see George come in and talk and dig in a little deeper. So I think if I'm just someone that's just watching this and it hasn't tried the app or anything like that, to me that's you have to have a core belief that the app and the newsletter is a great place to go in and perform, and everyone should go in and use it. But I kind of view this business, and I was doing my thing a little bit earlier. It kind of felt like a lot of these discords and other stuff, and I was able to understand the business, and I could see if you're able to outperform consistently over time and build a platform that could be interesting. So, yeah, I think that's what my big questions and things that I would be digging deeper into.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Just like with any public company, it starts with governance, right? So leadership, go ahead, look into the team, look into the advisors, look into the marketing, right? All these different sides. I think you want to take a firm look into, and luckily they provided all of their public names and details right here on this page. So it's a great place to start. Number two, what are they doing with the money, right? What's the breakdown? I like that most of it's going to growth here. I think tech's important. And then, as you can see, they're reserving 15% there for the opportunities for reserves. You don't want to say, hey, here's 100% right off the bat, planned for. You'd like to have some save there for opportunities, right? What if they can make a massive partnership? What if they find another marketing partner in these different areas? That could be growth, but maybe there's more to add to it on top of it. So I like that they've broken that down as well. And then one thing that's nice about this specific website is you can go through discussion pages and you can see that people are actually asking questions and different pieces, right? And you can actually see people like talking about their experience, the CEO's personal attention to the community. And I think that that's always great when you have a CEO that you can believe in and you could talk to. And so I encourage people, go through discussion, ask your own questions, go through reviews, right? Hear from people that are actually investing, right? You can see the person, they threw in their review as well. That's a lot of the details right there across the board. So I don't want to make this too long. The idea here is, do you find this helpful? Do you find this useful? Would you use it yourself? Like Evan said, really no way to know until you go ahead right off the board, right off the bat, and try it out yourself. Maybe, take a look at a couple of the picks, maybe put some dollars behind them or add them to a watch list and track them for a little bit. See, is this something that's working for me? Is this something that I could see myself using? I think that those are the best things to invest in, or things that you could see yourself using yourself. It's kind of like when people are starting to first invest, I say, do you buy products at Walmart, right? Do you use Apple devices, et cetera, et cetera? These are great places to start. Same here in the private market. Do you see yourself using this? And then number two, does it make sense to you, right? Okay, I personally do get why something that scans the option chain and other data points and takes millions of data points and curates them into a straightforward, long, short thesis, that makes sense to me and it's helpful for me. That might not be how you invest or how you're interested in investing. So it might not be for you. I like to think, hey, it can go one way or the other. At the end of the day, this video is hopefully giving you a lot more information. I'd say next steps right after this, go watch this video, go watch the walkthrough of the app as well, and take a look at how their picks are actually beating the SP 500, because that's the ultimate idea as an investor, right? Beat the SP 500. And then the last thing, just on the right side here, you can see the different levels. So you can invest as low as 250. And then they do have incentives for people that invest, more than that, 300, 500, 1,000. So you get free access to some of their trade alerts newsletters, first access, right, for a certain amount of months, right, different pieces here. So if these are things that you're interested in having and you're going to invest anyways, I would say take note of them because can't hurt to get a little bit extra. That is going to do it for this video. Evan, any other comments that you would like to share?
No, not much for me. We appreciate Prospero. Enjoy doing some work with them. Our goal, my goal, is always to just kind of put stuff on your radar and definitely not tell you guys to just go in and buy stuff. So I'm here doing my own due diligence on this, listening to Gav speak. So I think that is what I would say. If it's something you guys are excited in, then that's awesome, and you guys should definitely listen to a lot of the interviews we're doing with the team and some other good stuff happening. But definitely make sure you guys are knowing what you're buying into, not just the company itself, but also like the investing vehicle, the website, all that stuff. So a lot of important stuff to know with this, and make sure you guys are doing your research before you buy.
Yeah, and full transparency, I mentioned at the beginning, there's multiple areas here. I have invested personally into the company. I also work with them, obviously, to help them with getting the message out and the marketing. So if you do have questions, you can probably drop them under this video, and we'll do our best to bring those directly to the CEO and get you answers. Thank you for watching the video. Hopefully, you'll go take a look at this, send any questions you have over to us. And as always, do whatever works best for you when it comes to your investing. Don't let others speak for you. Take your time with this, form an educated decision, and let us know if you need any help. Take care, everybody.